The summer transfer market is heating up by the hour, and domestic leagues are entering their nail-biting final stretch. So, what's special today? Let's dive into the most exciting football updates with Football 247. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss a single heartbeat of the football world. And right now, let's dive into the transfer stories that are shaking up the Premier League over the past 24 hours. 1. Manchester United signed Matheus Cunha. Manchester United have reached an agreement to sign striker Matheus Cunha from Wolves for a fee of £62 million. The 25-year-old scored 17 goals and made 6 assists last season. He's expected to boost United's attack under new boss Ruben Amorim. 2. Liverpool closing in on Milos Kerkez. Liverpool are in talks to bring in Milos Kerkez, the 21-year-old left-back from Bournemouth. He's being eyed as a long-term replacement for Andy Robertson. If the deal goes through, Kostas Tsimikas could be on his way out of Anfield this summer. 3. What's next for Jack Grealish at Man City? Jack Grealish was left out of the FA Cup final, and that's raised big questions about his future at City. Rumor has it Pep Guardiola may no longer have faith in him, and a summer exit could be on the cards. 4. Arsenal targeting Alexander Isak. Arsenal are showing serious interest in Newcastle striker Alexander Isak. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe has hinted that Isak could leave, giving the Gunners a real opening to make a move. 5. Crystal Palace could lose key players. After winning the FA Cup, Crystal Palace now face the risk of losing some of their top talents like Ebereki Eze, Adam Wharton, and Mark Guehi to bigger Premier League clubs. Manager Oliver Glasner is also reportedly on Tottenham's radar. Yamal to wear Barca's iconic number. 10 signs €1 billion contract at 18. Lamine Yamal is taking center stage at Barcelona after playing a crucial role in the club's incredible domestic treble this season. La Liga, the Spanish Super Cup, and Copa del Rey. Under the guidance of Hansi Flick, the 17-year-old sensation is already being talked about as one of the best players in the world right now, and even a top contender for the 2025 Ballon d'Or. And here's the big news. According to Memorabilia1899.co, Barcelona are planning to hand Yamal the legendary number 10 jersey, the one once worn by Lionel Messi himself. Lamine Yamal will officially wear Barca's iconic number 10 shirt in the 2025/26 season, regardless of what happens with Ansu Fati. The decision has been made, the site reported. Right now, Yamal is wearing the number 19, the same number Messi wore before taking over the number 10 in 2008. As for Ansu Fati, the current number 10, injuries have sadly derailed his progress, and it looks like he might leave the club this summer. But that's not all. Barca are also preparing to lock in Yamal with a massive new contract the moment he turns 18, on July 13, 2025. President Joan Laporta wants to secure Yamal's future at Camp Nou and avoid another Neymar situation, so the deal will reportedly include a jaw-dropping €1 billion release clause. That's around £840 million, or $1.1 billion. Here's what Memorabilia1899.co had to say. When Lamine turns 18, it'll mark a historic moment for Barcelona. A brand new contract, a game-changing release clause, and the official debut of their new number 10. It's a strategic and marketing move that could redefine the club's future. Handing the number 10 to this rising star right after his 18th birthday will symbolize the start of a new era, with Barca building their future around Yamal and expecting a big commercial boom along the way. When Lamine turns 18, Barcelona will trigger a historic clause and announce a blockbuster new deal with a €1 billion release clause, a true statement of how invaluable he is to the club. Guardiola's strange tactics backfire on Man City. When Man City's starting 18 for the FA Cup final was announced, it felt like we were watching the return of classic Pep, the version that leaves you scratching your head. You start reading the lineup, then pause, go back to the beginning, and try to figure out what on earth is Pep planning here. Where's the structure? Where's the balance? To be fair, this match could have gone in a very different direction. Crystal Palace pulled off a surprise win and had the crowd behind them, but City actually started the game well. They pressed high, earned a penalty, which they failed to convert, and even had Palace keeper Dean Henderson flirting with a red card. Henderson made a string of great saves to keep Palace in it. In short, Manchester City were unlucky, but they also weren't great. Most of their dangerous chances came not from brilliance, but from Palace's mistakes, like Henderson unnecessarily handling the ball outside the box, or Mitchell fouling Bernardo Silva near the byline. City's main attacking threat? Crosses into the box, which for Pep's City usually means they're running out of ideas, not playing with their usual fluidity. That's why this bizarre tactical setup is under serious scrutiny. With no Rodri and even Kovacic missing, Pep went with zero natural defensive midfielders, just De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva in the middle. Sound familiar? It's hard not to think back to the 2021 Champions League final. And yeah, that decision didn't end well either. Now to be clear, City did dominate possession, but Pep's setup pushed Nico O'Reilly, a young academy product, into a wild role. Left back out of possession, central midfielder in possession, helping create a 3-3-4 shape when attacking. Sure, Pep basically invented this role, and to his credit, players like O'Reilly and Rico Lewis, who've grown up in this system, adapt to it almost instinctively. But it still puts a huge strain on the defensive side, especially against a team like Palace, who love using wide players like Ismaila Sarr and Ebereki Eze to pull defenders out of position and open up space for their wingbacks to bomb forward. On O'Reilly's side, Daniel Munoz was a constant threat with his explosive runs. So whenever City lost the ball, O'Reilly had to switch gears fast, track Sarr, and keep an eye on Munoz. But in the one key moment that mattered, he lost track. Munoz slipped behind him and scored the only goal of the match. This is exactly why Pep's used center backs as fullbacks for years, because they're better at one-on-one defending. In that moment at Wembley, he probably wished he had a more experienced left back on the pitch. On the attacking side, City's 3-3-4 structure was also a surprise, but if you were Palace boss Oliver Glasner, this probably looked exactly how you'd want it. Glasner's team plays a 3-4-3 all season, and his back three matched up nicely against City's narrow forwards. His wingbacks handled Doku and Savinho without much trouble. Pep may have hoped to push Palace's defense back and use midfield overloads to create openings in the half spaces. And De Bruyne did have some great crosses from those areas. But overall, it felt more hopeful than effective. And Erling Haaland, just back from injury, was invisible again. The game played out in a familiar pattern. City had the ball, Palace sat deep, and that early goal made their plan even easier to execute. Into the second half, City pushed hard again, but having started with such an attacking lineup, Pep had few options left on the bench to crank things up further. Yes, bringing on Phil Foden made sense, but giving a debut to Claudio Echeverri, a new signing who hadn't played a single minute before, in a cup final, that was just bizarre. Not necessarily wrong, just really strange for such a massive game. The result? A disappointing loss that caps off what might be the most underwhelming season in Guardiola's managerial career. If his final year at Barca, 2011/12, was exhausting, at least it ended with a Copa del Rey trophy. City might still qualify for the Champions League through a top 5 Premier League finish, but let's be real. Finishing 5th after winning 4 straight titles isn't exactly a happy ending. This idea of overthinking has always been part of Pep's genius, and his biggest flaw. When he wins, people call it tactical masterclass. When he loses, it looks like he's trying too hard to outsmart himself. But after 9 league losses, 5 more in Europe, and a League Cup exit to a relegation-threatened Tottenham, this latest slip at Wembley doesn't feel shocking anymore. And that's everything we wanted to share in today's video. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Football 247, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of the hottest updates from the world of football. From match analysis and transfer news to tactical breakdowns, it's all right here every single day.